How's it going, everyone? Welcome to the show. This is Game On and Beyond, and today we got some news for you. Time of recording is Tuesday, but you'll probably have this episode up in the next 2 days. But this is kind of some of the news that we think is interesting to you. So, do you have anything you want to say before we get started? How's your week been so far?
It's been good, man. A lot of overtime, which is good. Paying off bills is a good thing. So, been paying off debt. Been binge watching The Bear on FX.
Nice.
And that's been really cool.
Love it.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, season 2 kind of lost me, that show, unfortunately. Or maybe it was season 3. Whatever the newest season that came out was.
I think it's season 3. Yeah.
I was like, just too much yelling and cursing at each other, and I was like, where the hell is the show going?
Yeah, I agree. A lot of the first season was awesome. I loved the first season. I thought it was hilarious, and I loved the dynamic between like the cousins and whatnot, and just like them all like raising hell and like yelling at each other. It was It's pretty great.
And here's the thing. Don't get me wrong. I think the newest season still has a lot of that, but it's almost just like it was a little too much at the beginning, so I just kind of fell off. But maybe it got better.
Yeah, I really enjoy it for the most part. Shout outs to who's the dude? Like, is his name Liam? Liam something?
I have no idea.
Oh, okay. Well, he's cool. He has really cool hair. I loved him in Shameless as well. So
yeah, you used to watch the show all the time. That was a good show.
Yeah, Shameless is great. How's your week been?
It's been pretty good. Work's been busy. Been putting together some stuff for the news and kind of getting the show notes ready for today's show.
Cool.
Other than that, haven't really been playing too much. I think I've been playing a little bit of Helldivers here and there. There's some cool updates that have been popping up. I play on Super Helldive because, that's just the way you gotta be. Gotta be hardcore.
That's right.
And, yeah, it's been a fun time. I'm really looking forward to Killing Floor. Some new games coming out. Not really gonna play Monster Hunter, I don't think, but it's cool seeing my friends enjoy it. So
yeah, for sure. Monster Hunter Wilds. What, they sell like 1.5 million already in like 3 days or something?
It's some obscene amount. And they had some huge player spike on Steam because of it. So, lots of cool stuff. Heard some good things. Have heard some suspect things about the PC version, though.
I heard.
It kind of messes with your graphical quality. But
I heard it's kind of chugging, too, a little bit.
These games are usually optimized for consoles. Yeah. So, that's, I think, where a lot of these people put their focus when they do these multi-platform launches, get that console kind of release set, and then kind of do the better quality of life updates for PC.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, other than that, I think we should just jump right into the news.
Let's do it, dude.
So we do have a little bit of bad news to start. WB Studios is shuttering a couple of its subsidiary studios. We're losing Monolith. Wow, I should probably just have this right on deck here. Monolith, Player First Games, and WB San Diego are going to be closing. This includes the, I think, $100 million loss that they've pretty much put together for the Wonder Woman game. So that's going to be canceled, which kind of sucks. These studios were responsible for the Shadow of War. That was Monolith Studios. And then there was another game I had written down here. Multiverses came from which studio?
Player First Games.
Player First. And that was really popular at first. And then it just kind of fell apart.
Yeah.
So Warner Brothers Studios, I think, has been kind of like shitting the bed, for lack of a better word. I mean, what's the last really good game they had? I mean, Rocksteady's pretty much crapped the bed as well with Suicide Squad or Kill the Justice League.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like, Wonder Woman at least was interesting, and the trailer that they had put out, or the little teaser, looked cool. And it was even going to use a version of the Nemesis system, which now, well, who's going to use that? So I think this is all just the result of a lot of bad decision-making by WB Studios. I don't know if they have a really good direction as to what they want to do, and they have so many good properties. You have the DC superheroes, right? And you have all of the Cartoon Network stuff like Scooby-Doo and everything. So it's kind of interesting to see how they're underperforming. It sucks to lose studios and see people get laid off, and it sucks to lose the Nemesis system. They had that thing trademarked, I think, up to like 2036. So they weren't even using it in their own games. They didn't want anyone to use it in their games, and now no one's going to use it until who knows when.
Well, unless they come out with a game that actually does use the system itself. Yeah, man. Monolith Productions. We got Condemned. They did the Condemned series. One of my personal favorite games, Fear. And then Middle Earth the Shadow of series it's kind of bittersweet and very unfortunate, actually, more than anything. Just to see them go. More than anything, though, I was extremely curious about this Wonder Woman game and how they would actually like implement it and use her and like what kind of story she could bring and whatnot. Also, I wanted to take that golden lasso and lasso some people, but unfortunately, we can't do that anymore. That was one of my most anticipated games, just to kind of like, I probably wouldn't play it as much, but I wanted to see what it was like and kind of see what they would take it. But unfortunately, we don't have that anymore.
No, for sure, that does suck. I know that the kind of grandmaster of the DC Cinematic Universe, James Gunn, had talked about being open to doing a Marvel Rivals type game with the DC heroes, a hero shooter. That's nothing that's been officially put out there, but something they're open to and something that they could probably use to bring some money in and have them stop shuttering studios. So
yeah, I mean, like they've already done like a fighting game with DC and Mortal Kombat. So
yeah, and then but
or
even,
Injustice, I should say too.
Injustice, no, exactly. But even with Mortal Kombat 1, those games used to be super popular. They still are, but a lot of people didn't enjoy the over monetization of this game. The hero packs that were initially released. There was a lot of stuff going on that kind of marred the initial release of that game.
Mm-hmm.
And, I think WB Studios needs to kind of go back to the drawing board and figure out how to get these projects off the ground, because these characters are so rich with history and amazing stories that they could pull from, but they're just kind of leaving them on the table, if you will.
Yeah, I agree. But they do have other properties. I mean, they have like the Game of Thrones property. They also have Hogwarts Legacy from Avalanche. So essentially, they could really, and obviously, there's going to be a second game for Hogwarts Legacy.
I think they had mentioned putting some increased focus into like Harry Potter, Game of Thrones, a couple other properties that they had talked about. I know they were kind of alluding to more Batman stuff. So it's like you can only do so. I mean, Batman's always going to be popular, but they have so many other characters that they could do cool things with, and that's the unfortunate thing about losing Wonder Woman, I think.
Yeah,
she got the shaft big time. Her game got canceled, and so spoiler alert for Suicide Squad kills the Justice League. It turns out the Suicide Squad didn't kill the Justice League; they just killed like clones of them. So everyone came back, but get this, except for Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman gets killed by the clone Superman in the like beginning parts of the game, and then they're like, "Hey, just kidding, everyone's dead or everyone's alive, but Wonder Woman actually died." So she was the only one that stayed dead in that game.
Why?
I don't know, because Superman killed her, the evil Superman.
Evil.
So yeah, then they cancel their game. So that's mad unfortunate.
Yeah, that is. Well, I mean, obviously they got other properties that they're gonna make millions of dollars on. So
we'll see.
Let's hope, man. Let's just hope that they keep that quality
they drove
up.
Multiverses into the ground and all these other games. So I don't have a lot of hope unless they maybe can get someone who has more vision kind of in charge of the studio, if you will.
And what's funny too is like with Multiverses, I mean, they put out this beta, right? And then they were like, okay, well, we're gonna, or it was like a playtest beta or something, and then they took it down for like months, and then brought it back and made it worse, like made it slower, the microtransactions were still pretty hardcore in it.
Yeah.
And they made it so that unlocking characters takes like 18 years.
Yeah.
So essentially, you have to become
make it
an adult.
almost impossible to grind. So it's like you may as well just buy it, whip out the credit card.
Yeah, I mean that's what most games are like anyway. So
whip it out. All right, cool. No, so that's unfortunate. It always sucks to lose game studios, but at some point, these big head honchos are going to learn that you just have to make a good game, and people will play it.
Absolutely.
We have a little bit more bad news, but not for any bad reason. It looks like Microsoft has decided to delay Fable to 2026. Not for any good reason, or any reason that is bad, I should say. They pretty much just want to let it cook and make sure that the game that they release is something that they can live up to the promise for. It says Duncan, what's his name? Craig Duncan, formerly Rare Studio head, who took over as head of Xbox Game Studios, mentioned that the game will definitely be worth the wait. He says, while I know that's not maybe the news people want to hear, what I want to assure people of is that's definitely worth the wait. I have unequivocal confidence in the Playground team. If you think about their history and legacy for Forza Horizon, and the last few games critically acclaimed, 92 Metacritic, award-winning, beautiful, play great. What the That's the weirdest sentence ever. Anywho, they followed up this announcement with some pre-alpha gameplay from Fable. The game looks pretty good. The gameplay looks pretty good as well. You know, I joke around about this. Everyone's ugly in this game. Like, this is like a fantasy game where, like, you're not a beautiful person. You're just, like, an ugly person. I know this shouldn't matter, but it's like why they gotta be ugly? So anyway, I don't think they can fix that. But, you know, I'm sure it'll be a fun game. The gameplay looks great. It's super early. So everything looked pretty much just pared down, a couple boss fights, you know, showing some attack moves and things of that nature. But they're saying it's going to be worth the wait. Hopefully it will. Yeah. And it's going to be coming out in 2026 as the new release window.
I think I am the only one in the world that's probably going to say this, but actually I'm pretty pumped. I'm pretty excited. Like, from the alpha footage that they showed of, you know, her swinging the sword, like doing some combat stuff, some of the dialogue stuff, as well as, like, the ending where you kick the chicken, essentially.
Which is that like a thing in Fable?
Yes. Okay. So I'm pretty sure you get like some kind of achievement on the Xbox version. Well, so
it's kicking.
That you kicked a bunch of chickens and stuff like that, and it's like some kind of like side quest or whatever.
That reminds me of Ocarina of Time when you like beat up the chickens and then they like chase you down.
Yeah. I'm very optimistic about it. I liked what I saw. And I think that it's going to be well. So let it cook, man. Let it cook. Delay it as much as you want because this game is going to be a seller. It's going to be.
Might be good to delay it too. Isn't there? There's a couple big games coming out this year.
I mean, we got Grand Theft Auto 6.
Yeah.
And everybody's trying to a lot of games are actually pushed back to next year because they don't. First of all, we don't know when it's supposed to come out.
Yeah.
And second of all, like. Grand Theft Auto is going to outsell any game this year, regardless.
Yeah, and it sucks because now you're delaying your game to next year, and now you have to compete with Fable. So that's gonna be interesting next like 2 years. We have some really huge gaming releases. I'm very excited. Speaking of excited,
you excited? I know you're excited about this one.
I'm more excited about the franchise itself. Fortnite recently has decided to do a collaboration with Cowboy Bebop.
Yes, the best anime of all time.
One of the best animes of all time.
No, it is. It is the best anime of all the
time. Fortnite's been doing this for a while. They've been collaborating with huge products, brands, you could say. They've had Dragon Ball, Naruto. They've done better DC video game stuff than WB Studios have.
Yeah, for sure.
Adding them into Fortnite. They had a whole event, I think, around Superman and everything. So, Fortnite's done a lot of great collaborations. Cowboy Bebop's coming up. You're going to be able to have Faye Valentine and Spike Spiegel skins. There's other little items like his little swordfish. I showed him kind of floating around, sitting on it. My son was playing Fortnite the other day, and I saw the skins on there in the little bundle. So they definitely look cool. I think what excites me about this is it seemed really random. Cowboy Bebop's super culturally relevant, but I feel like my son didn't know what the hell Cowboy Bebop was. He just thought the skins were cool. But what excites me about this is that in situations like this, a lot of times marketing agencies or the people that market these games, they're floating this out there in Fortnite probably to see what the interest is. And I'm hoping that means maybe more content around Cowboy Bebop or maybe new projects from the studio that created it. There's an anime called Lazarus that's coming out that has some creative talent from Cowboy Bebop on it.
I think it's from the creator.
I believe it is, and it has like some dude from John Wick cool. that's helping with some creative input, I believe. So I think it's cool to see Cowboy Bebop, and although it seems random, I'm hoping that means that maybe they're trying to gauge interest in the franchise for maybe new content or, you know, who knows, like a reanimation or a remastering of the original, that sort of thing. So
yeah, absolutely.
I think it's pretty cool. Speaking of Fortnite, Marvel Rivals is kind of taking a page from the playbook, if you will. They announced recently that they will begin looking at big-time collaborations, just like we talked about with Fortnite. So, as you know, Disney owns Marvel, Star Wars, they own everything. There's like almost every kids franchise as far as like movies and TV show projects filter through Disney in one way or the other. What I'm excited about is that we'll probably start seeing some new skins from various other properties like Star Wars. I know there's big Marvel movies coming out, so I could see Doctor Doom or Iron Man getting new skins based on that because Robert Downey Jr. is playing Doctor Doom now.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's kind of cool. I don't really play either of these games, but what I really enjoy that they do is they're able to really do some cool things with the properties that they collaborate with.
Yeah.
And I think it'll be neat. Marvel Rival, the opposite of what I said about Fable, all the Marvel Rival character models look really cool and like sexy and awesome and very unique. So it'll be cool to see what these collaborations can bring, from Star Wars and other ways to bring skins into the game. So, not a huge fan of all the like epic monetization of these games, but it is cool because the stuff that they're bringing in are quality.
Yeah,
and it's cool collaborations. So
yeah, I still can't wrap my head around like what they would like, who they would collaborate with, other than like movies, like the tie-in movies.
Yeah, well, like Star-Lord, for example. Like I thought, like, hey, what if they do like a Han Solo skin from Star Wars for him? Yeah, it looks kind of like Harrison Ford. He's got the blaster and everything, but it's Star-Lord as the character, and you just have like Han Solo as the skin over it. So
yeah, that'd be cool.
I think there's some really cool things they can do. Disney owns so many different properties, and I think people would love that. Marvel Rivals has been a huge hit. It's made millions of dollars, and this is just going to kind of keep adding to the pool.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, what I really like is with us hearing about collaborations, future collaborations, we also got news that they're doing like esports stuff.
Yeah.
So that should be pretty exciting. Yeah, I mean, if Overwatch can have it, so can Marvel Rivals.
We talked about developers and studio heads just kind of giving people what they want, making a good game. Marvel Rivals right now is the epitome of that. It's great gameplay, awesome heroes. It's a great product, a great brand.
Mm-hmm.
Marvel is still really hot, and the game is fun. For a lot of people.
It's a good game,
and they're always adding in new stuff. So new heroes, and I don't think they're afraid of letting people go wild with the sandbox. So I think it's fun, and a lot of people, it's easy to get into. It's free, and the skins aren't crazy expensive. So,
yep.
Check it out for future collaborations. If you're into Marvel Rivals, be looking for some cool stuff from the other brands that Disney owns. All right, my last bit of news before we move over to what you got. Sony today, I believe, or actually yesterday, sorry. Actually, no, this is actually fresh news from today.
Yeah,
announced registration for a new beta program at PlayStation. So Sony talked about this. I'll kind of read from the PlayStation blog. The beta program at PlayStation will create an easy, centralized place for you to register your interest in a range of future PlayStation betas. A single registration for beta program at PlayStation will allow you to express interest in gaining beta access to test participating games for the PS5 console and PC, new PS5 console features, PlayStation app features, and even user experience features on PlayStation.com. So there are some requirements. Players must have a valid account for the PlayStation Network in good standing with a current email address. Accounts with restrictions or violations may not be eligible for participation. Players must live in the region where beta program at PlayStation is available, and players must meet the legal age requirement. It's free to join, and the link is right there on the PlayStation blog website.
Cool.
I'm going to sign up for this. I think it's cool. I'm going to get a PS5 soon, so it'll be fun to kind of see what little features and things that you might be able to test.
Yeah.
But it's also great because the best feedback you can get, obviously there's lots of Q&A and testing that goes into these games, but when you can put out a good beta and really get a lot of feedback from the players, your game is only going to be better from there.
Yeah, absolutely. This is going to be a great program, especially if they're letting us beta test games. That's pretty cool. Sony does have like an initiative where you could test out like system updates that were in beta.
Cool.
Like for example, the HUD, the UI HUD that when you sign on and you sign into your PlayStation account and like it shows up. Essentially, there was beta testers that were able to kind of see that and play around with it because they have like more like widgets now.
Yeah.
And stuff. So very cool. I'm very excited. I'll probably sign up as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, once again, I just want to say, like, the beta for games, like, yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
It's cool to be able to include the community into some of the development of the game and being able to give that live feedback so that it's less of a day 150 patch situation and more they can patch that beforehand and give you more time to just enjoy the game in a much better state, much more stable state.
Yeah, absolutely.
I do appreciate how it's one sign up for everything too. So you don't have to sign up for 50 different betas. You have FOMO, you're going to miss it while you're at work. You sign up once, you get alerted to betas that you're eligible to participate in. So
yes,
good on you, Sony. More companies should do stuff like this. Betas are good. Let it cook.
Yes, good for you, Sony. Good
All
stuff.
right, that's my news. I'm going to kick it over to you to talk a little bit about Pokemon Day.
So, Pokemon Day came out 2025, essentially. We got some trailers. We got some new mobile games. We got some cool stuff to talk about. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm actually going to, from the website, they kind of went like headline to like smaller news. I'm going to go smaller to headline.
Love it.
So we're going to start with Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. They got 3 new Terra raid battles.
Okay.
That's cool. I mean, that's, Terra, the raid battles are basically the Pokemon get like huge and they get all like really cool crystallized and stuff, and then you battle them, and then you have like a chance to catch them. Essentially,
is this like multiple people doing it, or is it just you?
Really? Yeah. So you can make it as like you can have like CPUs in the background.
Okay.
So or you can have like it be multiplayer.
Really?
So you can like bring like.
Is it like a
3 people in
matchmake thing, or you invite your friends?
Yeah, it's like a matchmake thing.
Okay, cool.
And I think most of the Pokemon game is like online anyway. So I mean, you could turn off the online functions and whatnot. But so yeah, I mean, you could just bring like randos in, and then they kind of help you out and whatnot, which is pretty cool.
No, I love that. Yeah, a mighty Meowscarada. February 27th it actually was, it looks like. A mighty Skeledirge, and that is March 6th at 4 p.m. Pacific time. And a mighty Quaquaval?
I don't know.
Quaquaval?
I don't know any of these Pokemon.
Interesting. So it's like Quilava.
Pokemons.
Anyway, that's pretty cool. I didn't know these. I've seen the raid battles. I didn't really know what all it looked like, but
I think that was introduced in. I think it was Sword and Shield. I'm
Okay.
pretty sure it was introduced in that. And then they brought it over to Scarlet and Violet. Could be wrong though. I haven't. Pokemon to me is it's gotten way too big.
I love it.
So, next we got Pokemon Cafe Remix, which is basically they just have a fruitful event based on apples, with like different kind of Pokemon like that are based off of apples, as well as you can do apple kind of things.
Okay, just like Pokemon Unite, you can download the Cafe Remix game for free. Interesting.
Yeah, it's a mobile game.
Okay.
Speaking of Pokemon Unite, we got the MOBA, the Pokemon MOBA, essentially.
Love it.
New characters are coming out, such as Suicune, Alolan Raichu, and Alcremie. Added. Okay. Yeah.
Dude, what? That Pokemon is wild. It's like a ice cream with strawberries.
Yeah, it's like a cream puff type.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Okay.
Pretty wild.
Pretty wild.
Remote Stadium has also returned in rank matches, which is a popular stadium, like a popular map. And then there's a new type of battle mode. But I don't know if they really went into it as deep into that.
Okay.
But they did say that there was like
Probably more to come.
Yeah, for sure. Then we got Pokemon, the trading card game Pocket for mobile. That is one of my favorite games that I've been playing a lot. I really kind of addicted
hasn't
to
it been out?
Yeah, it's been out for a while. Yeah, it came out. I think
they just talked about it. Or?
Yeah, there's a new. It's called Triumphant Light, and it's like a new pack essentially.
Okay.
It released the same day, so I have some experience with it. Very cool. Has 75 new cards in it. Yeah, it's pretty good. There's a new water. There's like a new water card right now that's breaking the game.
I heard that water decks are kind of hardcore right now.
Yeah, they're OP.
Cool.
They are destroying and dominating my games.
Why not just give them more good cards then, right?
Yeah, for sure. Then we have a new game that didn't release just yet, but is releasing sometime this year called Pokemon Champions.
Ooh,
it is going to come for mobile as well as for Switch, digital only. So there's not going to be any physical copies for this one. The trailer looks pretty cool.
Is this like Pokemon Stadium?
Yes. So it's like that, but it kind of gives me more of a Pokemon Battle Revolution for the Wii version.
Okay. Okay.
Where I think it's a 2-on-2 battles.
Was that where you like walked around?
No, Battle Revolution was literally like you would like rent out Pokemon, kind of like Pokemon Stadium.
Yeah.
And then you would just like have tiers of battles that you would go through.
Love that.
Man, I can't believe I never thought that this year I would speak about battle revolution, which is pretty crazy for the Wii.
I love it.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah, it looks cool. It just looks like a step up from those games.
Okay.
And it's basically, I think it's 2-on-2 battles more than anything. So, yeah, it looks cool. I don't think there's a release date for that just yet, but I do know that it is coming out in 2025.
Love it. Lots of games.
So, the last one and the biggest piece of news is Pokemon ZA. Basically, it is going to be centered in the Luminos, Luminis, or
Lumios City.
And it's in the Kalos region, which came from Pokemon X and Y.
Okay.
I think that map was actually based off of Paris, which is kind of cool.
Interesting. So this is like a spiritual successor, or like a successor to those games, like almost like a sequel.
Yeah, it's more like, you ever heard of Pokemon Legends Arceus?
Yes.
Yeah, it's a sequel to that, but it is like they're just using that city as like kind of like a basis for it. You got some new homies that you're hanging out with. There's like 2 brand new characters, and I'm sure there's going to be like new gym battles and stuff like that too.
Okay.
Mega evolutions for the first time are going to be in this game, which is cool. And there is a new real-time battle system. So what they did is basically they spruced up the animations, and they also they just made a better version of the Arceus games.
Interesting. So what does it mean real time? You just throw out and just battle?
Yeah.
Like command your Pokemon like right there?
Pretty much. So what it is...
World.
Yeah, exactly. What you do is basically you throw the Pokemon out, it lands, and essentially it'll be like a normal battle. But the thing is, too, is that I guess positioning is something that's important in this game too, which wasn't
like flanking them from the side or getting them from behind.
Maybe doing some like critical hits or something like that from the side or whatnot. So, yeah, it looks okay. I'm gonna be honest. I'm just gonna say it looks stinky.
3D Pokemon just doesn't look great.
Yeah,
I remember trying to play. I bought Violet, I believe.
Okay.
And that game was so boring, and it was so ugly, and it was so stupid. You drive like this stupid Pokemon motorcycle.
Yeah, it's a legendary Pokemon.
It just looked dumb. Like 3D it just in the world. It doesn't look terrible when I'm watching like the trailers and everything. However, the world looks big, but doesn't look like there's a lot in it. It's just a bunch of buildings and like a person every once in a while, and then
Pokemon running
around with you, and it showed people like parkouring, and I'm like, but there's nothing on the roofs, so it's like, what is so cool about that?
Yeah.
So I sound a little negative. I love Pokemon though. I'm just like hungering for a remaster, like a Switch remaster of Red and Blue, or something like that, where it gives you like an upgraded 2D, like pseudo 3D experience.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe
like a cool like pixel remaster would be really cool of that.
Yeah, didn't the Switch do a couple of like 3D-ish Pokemon games that weren't quite like this? It still had like the 2D sprite, but they were kind of like 3D, like popped off a little bit.
They did that for, I think...
Am I thinking Let's Go Pikachu? Is that what I'm thinking of?
No, but I was going to say that those two, Let's Go Eevee and Let's Go Pikachu, were actually like remakes of the first two.
Yeah.
But what they did was that they used a lot of the motion sensors for like
the Pokeball thing.
The Pokeball
I had
thing.
that little remote. Cool.
Yeah. So like personally for me that kind of like turned me off from that, and I just went back to like playing like Leaf Green and Fire Red and stuff. But with and then to answer your question about the other ones, there was a Pearl. It was like Pearl and Diamond. I think there was a remake of those.
Okay.
I think. I might be. Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
So yeah. I think that the last 2 games, Sword and Shield and Scarlet and Violet, I found pretty boring myself.
Yeah, and it just seems, again, I love the concept of open world Pokemon.
Yeah.
I think it's really cool because Power World did it, but I feel like they just don't have the hardware to support maybe what they're trying to do. I mean, Zelda can do it with their games for the most part, but Pokemon, it just... something seems off, and I don't know if I even like the idea of this real-time battle system.
Yeah,
I kind of just, again, maybe I'm just too old school to set in my ways, but I just like the classic like turn-based Pokemon.
Yeah, no, I agree.
You know,
I wish it was more like that too.
Yeah.
But also, I think it kind of still is in a way, because while it says it's like in real time, you still have those options with like the menus and stuff. Okay. So I think it is going to be still like turn based. It's just going to be
like abandoning the formula completely.
But it's more just like the presentation itself is like a little bit more real time ish, and then with like positioning and stuff like that, it's so yeah.
We'll have to give it some time. You know, it's still going to be a ways out. I don't think they announced a release date for that one either.
No, but it is coming out this year for sure.
Okay. So, you know, I don't even like the starter. Like the pig.
Yeah. What's up with So.
Well, okay. So I got to redact what I said about Cyndaquil. A lot of people are saying he's not in this, or they're not in this, because he was a starter in Legends Arceus.
Oh, was he?
I think he was a starter there.
Yeah.
So they decided not to do a starter here. I personally still think it's because Typhlosion got canceled.
Oh.
Whatever the Halluzian form.
Yeah, that was Typhlosion, I think.
Typhlosion, I'm sorry. Yeah. That apparently there was some weird lore that goes into what that creature's based off of. But we won't cover that here.
Look it up yourselves.
Look it up yourselves. Why? I just Google search, why is Typhlosion canceled? And I found everything I needed to know. So
for sure,
a lot of cool stuff coming out of Pokemon Day.
Yeah,
I personally am the most excited for Pokemon Champions. I really want to like Legend ZA, but I'll have to see some gameplay before I'm convinced to buy it.
I have a feeling that it's not gonna. I mean, I have a feeling that Pokemon is gonna sell. Obviously, you know, it's gonna sell like hotcakes, and I think it's gonna do well. But I don't think. And also, Arceus was like really well received. Yeah. So there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be playing this. But I will say that from my personal standpoint, like the game, I don't think this game's going to run well.
The thing is this is
I don't think so.
I don't think they have any incentive to really change what they're doing until the fans don't eat it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And even like I think one of the producers of the game from Game Freak actually said like, hey, like we can make this franchise last another 30 years, but we can't change much. We have to continue like to make it the kind of like the same.
Yeah. So, but that's the thing. It doesn't have to be the same. I just feel like there's a way to capture the spirit of Pokemon in a different look, or maybe going away from this huge like 3D open expansive world unless you have the hardware to support it. Mm-hmm. You know, I don't know, but there's something, there's like, it's almost like this, it feels very soulless when I watch these 3D Pokemon games. When I played even Pokemon Scarlet, I was like, this world is kind of nice, but it just feels like there's no soul in any of it. It just feels like I'm walking around this big empty world. So I know I've been poo-pooing on it a lot. I love Pokemon. I want to like this game, but we'll have to see more.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I mean, like I said, I mean, the fact that they show balconies and it's literally like a JPEG of like a balcony, like that 100%. Was insane. Like so,
but nothing will change unless the people that they're marketing this shit for stop eating the shit.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, absolutely. So. There's another topic I kind of want to bring up real quick.
Yeah, let's do it.
So today, actually, they announced a godsend, Nick. Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 and 4.
Oh, we talked about that on our failed last episode. We tried to record last week and talk about the IGN Fan Fest, and that was one of the topics. There was like a secret Easter egg, but we paused the recording on accident or something. So
yeah, so it officially announced today, which is great. So we are getting them.
Those pains. Those pains.
The Activision themselves did say that they weren't gonna remake them.
They're liars.
But they were like, hey, I guess we're going to go do
like,
it.
We're liars, so there's no way we're not going to do that.
Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 is my favorite game of the series, and I loved 4 as well. Cool. So this is going to be... I'm so excited. The trailer looks great. It looks like down to the grind rails, dude. It looks exactly the same, just spruced up. Man, I love it. And I love Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2 when they remade that, so
high hopes.
High hopes, man. I'm looking forward to it.
Looking forward to it. From the lows of Pokemon to the highs of Tony Hawk.
That's right, doing the Christ air.
Like tight. A true Hawk, he rises above the mediocrity of the Pokemon franchise.
That's right. Nice.
So that's pretty much the news. I know we have a couple releases that are coming out this week.
Oh, yeah.
We have The big one of the three, I believe, Split Fiction, coming out March 6th. It's getting a lot of good early reviews. I watched a review from SkillUp. Very highly rated. He did talk about how the writing and the characters are a little meh, but that the gameplay itself and the art design is amazing. It's a co-op puzzler. You do have to have another person, so to even play the game, I believe.
Oh, you can. Oh, really?
I believe you actually have to have a second player to play it. So there's, I guess, like a Discord available for it where you can jump in and play. If you have a friend, cool. If you don't have a friend, try and find one. But it's a cool little story about two different authors learning about each other through their collective worlds. You know, one is a sci-fi author, the other is a fantasy author, and you play through different worlds kind of spawned from their minds in the books that they write. So
cool.
Definitely seems pretty cool. It's getting good early reviews, like 9s and 10s from a lot of websites I'm seeing.
It's great.
But you don't know until you play it.
Yeah, I mean, from the guy who made, or from the developers that made It Takes Two, I mean, I'm sure that it's going to be wonderful.
Yeah, It Takes Two was a sleeper. I think a lot of people slept on it. And
dude,
it ended up being
like
huge.
a game. It
ended up being huge.
Yeah, it turned out to be it won Game of the Year. I think in 2003.
Yeah. I don't think a lot of that. What I guess I should have said is that not a lot of people were expecting it to be that good and the story to be really that relevant and powerful.
Yep.
So I am interested. Probably won't play it, but I'll watch some gameplay on it.
Yeah, I want to.
I don't have any friends. So.
I want to see the reception for sure. Like the reception of it is like the key, and I want Hazelight Studios to do very well.
Yeah,
and they've already shown with It Takes Two and the other game that came out before that.
The other game.
So like, yeah, they're showing it. So good job, guys. They're doing well.
We have Frag Punk coming out March 6th as well, free to play.
Yep.
Frag Pump.
Pump it up, baby, pump it.
5v5 first-person hero shooter. Similarities to Overwatch, Marvel Rivals, Valorant, etc. However, there's one key twist.
And what's that?
Shard cards.
What?
Not shart cards.
Well, at least first like
shard cards. Between rounds, players draw these shard cards that bring game-changing modifiers. These can change the weather, give your team double jump abilities, stop enemies from healing, let your team respawn as zombies, reduce cover at bomb sites, and much more.
Oh, wow.
It has a simple attack and defend format that's become immensely popular, a la Overwatch, and each character kind of has their unique blend of personality and special abilities. So there's kind of a lot of competition for this, so we'll see how long Fragpunk sticks around. It looks almost kind of like a Borderlands-esque take on Valorant. The characters are all kind of crazy and wild and looking very steampunk, but they're all good looking. So that's one thing they got for it.
Yeah, shout out to the mechanical girl.
Yeah,
whenever she's
she's
cool.
If you want to turn off video game players, just make your characters super ugly.
True.
Then you're good. We're looking at you, Concord. Anyway, one more game. You might know about this because it seems very weeboo. Suikoden 1 and 2 HD Remaster Gate Rune and Dunin Unification Classic Konami Franchise Remastered. Is that the whole title?
That is the whole title. I'm pretty sure that's like both games, like their titles combined. Or something.
I was like, that is. It's like most animes nowadays with their long ass titles. What is this about? Do you know anything about this?
Well, Suikoden, obviously a very popular JRPG that came out in the 90s.
Oh, it's not a rhythm game?
No. It's a turn-based
I feel like I've heard of this game, Suikoden.
Yeah, so Suikoden. There was like a PS2 game, like PS2. Actually, there's 5 games that came out, and the 3 of them came out for the PS2, whereas the first 2 that are getting remastered were PlayStation 1 classics. Okay.
So it's like Final Fantasy style turn-based, or is it like tactics?
Yeah, so it's like turn-based Final Fantasy type.
Okay.
The cool seller about this game, and especially when it came out, was that you can get like over 100 different characters to join your party.
Interesting. Like classes, like customizations and things of that nature.
But each character was like had their own like individual story and like stuff like that. So there was another game that came out recently.
So it's like pre-Baldur's Gate. Baldur's Gate.
Yeah, kind of. Pretty much.
Not quite like the I forgot what those types of games are called, but
Yeah. This game was announced like a while back. I think in like I want to say like 2020, and I'm guessing they just had like they just want to give it a lot of TLC and be able to make the game as pretty as it can be. Some people have said that the sprite work is kind of off.
Okay.
And
for this remaster or this remake?
Yes, for the remaster itself. So, but then again, I'm not like an OG fan, so I wouldn't really know those kind of differences. But yeah, man, this is a long time coming because many people don't have access to this unless you're like downloading illegally, like ROMs and emulators and stuff like that. So this is really cool. This is I hope that this kind of brings more interest to the series so that we can get maybe the PS2 remasters or we can get maybe its own game, which would be really cool. Yeah, so
bring some life into the franchise, kind of like what we talked about a little bit with Cowboy Bebop earlier.
Exactly.
Way to bring it full circle.
So at the end of the day, I just feel like Konami right now is doing so well, just like bringing back these franchises.
Metal Gear Solid Delta.
Gonna be exciting. So that's gonna be cool. And then yeah, so shout outs to Konami for doing this. It's very cool.
Yeah, couple good. These games are the ones kind of coming out this week. Next week during the show, we'll talk about the ones then.
Yep.
But that brings us to the end of our journey together.
Any final thoughts?
Final thoughts. Now, check us out on YouTube at youtube.com/GoAbPod. That's GOAB pod. Like our videos. Subscribe. It's all free. We're not charging you anything right now. And it helps us kind of boost and get up into the viewage a little bit more. So tell your friends, tell your family, watch the show, give us a thumbs up or a thumbs down. Mostly a thumbs up. Maybe leave a comment for engagement. But let us know how we're doing and check out the show. So that's all I got for today.
Yep, that's it for me.
Cool. We will see you next week with more Game On and Beyond news.
Peace out, guys.
Peace.